So I had a request, I don't remember if it was a Facebook message or an Instagram message, but somebody asked, you know, Slim is out on the market now, the Rapala OG Slim, if you've not seen it. But it's out on the market, and there's 14 colors in the lineup. And somebody asked, you know, they were like, man, I'd love to have a breakdown of when you choose each color. 14 colors is a lot to choose from, and I certainly understand that everybody's not going to go out and buy 2 or 3 of every color. They want to pick, you know, a couple colors that's going to work on their bodies of water. And so this is just going to be my thought process of why there are 14 and then when to use each one. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that I will carry all 14, but I definitely have my confidence colors in them. But I kind of break them down really into 3 groups as far as these color styles. For one, you've got your Shad Colors, and that's probably where we are the heaviest in that Slim lineup. We've got like, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 colors that I would consider, you know, shad-based colors. And that is definitely, you know, that's pretty heavy on the Shad Colors. But I wanted to have something that's going to match every single tint, you know, really of watercolor. You could take 2 or maybe 3 of these. You could pick those out, whichever ones that you have the most confidence in, and probably work for about any situation. We've got 3 that have full sides. So we've got the old school silver, which is, you know, just that, like that old silver Shad Rap. Silver sides, black back, red throat. I mean, that is what we all grew up fishing in a, you know, a Shad Rap, and have caught tons and tons of bass on that. That is just as standard of a color as you can get, especially with those full sides that definitely will catch bass. And then we've got that live river shad, a very, very realistic imitation of a shad with that printing that it's got on it, the bait dot, the different little color hues. It's got a little bit of pink, a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow there on the side, a dynamite color, and that kind of olive drab colored back. That's one that I've caught a lot of fish on. And then a new one, a new color that's in the DT lineup as well, is that green Gizzard shad. Just that green back, but it's got some green iridescent over those full sides as well, but a little bit of flash that comes through on those shoulders as well as on the sides. So those are the 3 that are full-sided colors. Then we've got just the old school shad. We've got citrus shad, which is also a new one. We've got big shad, which of course is one of my favorites. That big shad is definitely a color I really, really like. And then we've got Helsinki shad, which has got that nice bright chartreuse stripe down the sides. But you could, and I'm telling you, you could take about any couple of those. You know, citrus is really the one that stands out a lot to me, that's going to shine in dirtier water of all those shad colors. Big shad is one that works for me in really pressured situations, places where I know I'm fishing around a lot of fish that have seen a lot of other baits. That's one that's different enough to me that I've got a lot of confidence in there. And then you get to the clear water side of that, or bright sunny days when you've got those bright skies, a lot of light going through the water. Those are the days I for sure want to be using one of those full-sided baits, just because you get so much more exaggerated flash. So that's how I kind of pick it on those shad colors. Bright days, fairly clear water, I'm probably going to be throwing something with a full side. Darker skies, or maybe not as clear water, but I still want a shad pattern, that's what I'm going to go with, those more solid colors, with citrus being the one that I go to in the dirtiest watercolors. Moving into the rest of kind of the color styles, the next would be your Crawdad Colors. And we've really got 4 that I would put, you know, for sure into that Crawdad Colors. And that old school CW, that is just, man, that's just like that old school shad color. That's one that come from the Shad Rap. That is a confidence color of mine. I catch them on that color when the water is that color. When the water is orange, I'll catch them on that one. When it's clear, I'll catch them on that one. That is a Crawdad color that works anytime, any situation. And then one that's not terribly different from it, but it does have that bright kind of reddish belly to it, is the dark brown Crawdad. And that one, I like it. I'll catch them on it in clean water. You know, out at Table Rock a few years ago, I caught them on that color really, really well in a DT6. When you could see, you know, a couple feet, maybe 2.5 or so, they'll bite that dark brown craw really well. But in the dirtiest water, that red crawdad, that's the one that I'm going to go with. It's kind of got that little bit of green and a dark brown back, but those bright red belly on it. Down at Eufaula and the first Bass Pro Tour this year, I caught some fish on a DT6 in that particular color. Shows up really, really well in those muddy waters. The last one to round out the Crawdad Colors for me is a clear water Crawdad color, and that's root beer craw. That is one that, you know, I'll catch them on that when I can see 4 or 5, maybe even 6 feet deep. I'll catch them on that root beer Crawdad color in really, really clean water. And it seems to work particularly well on smallmouth as well as spotted bass. That root beer craw is a great one. Speaking of spots, if I was fishing off-colored water, you know, 1 to 2, 2.5, 3 feet of visibility, fishing a lake that has a lot of spots, the Chartreuse root beer, that is my ultimate confidence color anytime I'm around spotted bass and I've got some colored water. That is just a dynamite color. I've had that color painted for years and years in Shad Raps and DTs. I've had that color painted in all those for a long time. You can get it in slim as well as the DTs now. But the other one, we really have just those two that I consider in the, you know, really in that Chartreuse family. We've got the Chartreuse root beer and the Mossy Chartreuse craw. That is another big time confidence color for me in dirty water. Chartreuse with a brown back. That again is something that I've had stuff painted my whole life. I've always loved a Chartreuse and brown anything, but that is definitely one that is a good player in those really muddy waters. The only other one that's kind of out there, stands alone by itself, is that Perch color. And I have to say I'm fairly sentimental about Perch. It's not a color I throw that often, but the reason I'm sentimental about it is the very first 5-pound bass I ever caught in my life was on a Perch colored number 5 Shad Rap. So that is a color that I definitely wanted to have in slim. Is it going to be a big seller? Probably not, but will it catch fish if you tie it on it? Absolutely will. And it'll catch fish in the south. I mean, a lot of people think of Perch as being a northern bait fish, which obviously they are, but we have them in some of our fisheries in the south. And I think it looks like a bluegill. You know, it could even imitate a crawdad. It could look like a lot of different things. But that Perch color is definitely one that will work in a lot of different situations. So hopefully going through these colors will help you understand why they're there, for one, but also how to pick out those colors whenever you're going to the store. Word on the street is they're kind of hard to get right now. So if you can get any, I suggest you get them while you can. But once you've got an assortment, or you've got the chance to pick out from different colors, hopefully that'll kind of help you pick. Bright sunny days, Shad Colors, go with the full ones. You know, not as bright or dirtier water, but you still want a shad, go with the solid ones. Crawdad Colors, and those times of the year, especially cooler water when you're wanting to imitate a crawfish, a couple of Chartreuse ones to pick from in really dirty water. And then Perch is kind of the outlier that, you know, who knows when you're going to catch probably the biggest bass of your life on it. So hope this helps, and go out to the store, go out to Bass Pro and pick you up a few OG Slims with me next time.